All right, today we're going to talk about the art of negotiation, but probably not in the way you're used to. We are going to completely flip the script. Forget everything you've heard about winning at all costs. We're about to dive into a strategy that sounds a little crazy, how you can actually win by giving in.
So let me ask you a question right off the bat. When you're in a negotiation, is giving in a sign of weakness? Come on, be honest. Your gut reaction is probably, yeah, of course. It feels like you're losing, like you're backing down. But what if that's just plain wrong?
Because the answer is actually a hard no. Giving in isn't a sign of weakness, not when it's your most strategic move on the entire board. That's what we're going to unpack. This isn't about being a pushover. It's about being the smartest person in the room.
Okay, so how on earth does that actually work? Well, the secret sauce is a really powerful principle of human psychology. To get this, we have to talk about the power of reciprocity. This is the why behind the whole strategy.
See, at its heart, it's all about this one simple dynamic. When you give the other person something, you're not just losing a bargaining chip. Nope. What you're really doing is creating a powerful psychological pull. You're creating a subtle but very real sense of obligation. And this whole thing has a name. It's called the reciprocity principle. It's basically this unwritten social rule that's wired into all of us. You know, the feeling that if someone does something nice for you, you kind of have to do something nice back. In a negotiation, this becomes a killer formula. You give a little to get a whole lot more.
So, here's how it plays out for you. It's a simple three-step dance. 1, you make a concession. 2, that creates that feeling of I owe you one. And 3, this is the magic part. They feel this powerful need to give you something back, and that's when you get them to move on what really matters to you. Okay, so the theory sounds good, right? It makes sense. But how do you actually do this without getting taken for a ride? Well, let's open up the playbook and turn this psych theory into some real concrete actions you can take. First things first, you have to be super deliberate about this. You're not just giving stuff away randomly. You need to know which points are just nice-to-haves for you. Next, and this is absolutely crucial, you got to make sure that thing you're giving up is something they find really valuable. And finally, when you make the offer, it has to feel genuine, not like some cheap trick. But, and this is a huge but, there is a massive warning that comes attached to this strategy, a critical rule you cannot break. Because the most important part of conceding strategically isn't about what you give up. It's about knowing what you must never give up.
And here it is, the golden rule. You never, ever concede on what is fundamental. These are your non-negotiables, your core needs. They are the entire reason you are at that table to begin with. And that brings us to a super important distinction. You've got strategic concession on one side, that's giving up the small stuff to win on your big goals. That's smart. But on the other side, you have capitulation. That's giving up on your fundamental needs. That's not a strategy. That's just losing, plain and simple.
So check this out. Think of this matrix as your prep sheet. Before you even walk in the room, make 2 lists. On one side, under what to concede, you put all your secondary points, your nice-to-haves, things that don't cost you much but mean a lot to them. And the other column, what to protect, that's sacred ground. That's for your must-haves, your core principles. That column is your fortress.
So let's bring this all home. When we boil it all down, what's the real philosophy here? What is the true meaning of using a strategy like this?
Here's the big takeaway. Negotiation is not about winning every single point. It's not a war where you have to fight to the death over every tiny hill. True, brilliant strategy is about knowing which battles are actually worth fighting. So I'm going to leave you with that. The next time you're heading into a negotiation, will you see making a concession as a weakness? Or will you see it for what it truly can be? Your most powerful opening move. What do you think?